$0. About the 2 minutes it takes me to put together a
exactly
lineup. I just don't know shit about NBA. Haven't watched like a single game all year.
Dude, I've been watching some, and then I just get pissy with the refs every single time.
Damn, we got 2 U of A games tomorrow, baby.
I know.
Got men's at what, like 11, and then women's play at like 4.
Yep.
I'm hard.
Oh, that's great. Hey, did you see that Shohei shit?
Yeah.
Dude.
$4.5 million to cover gambling debts. How the fuck do you get $4.5 million in gambling debt?
So here's my thing, Noah. Do we really think that was his interpreter betting that?
Or either way, he was embezzling.
Shohei, or did someone take a bullet for Shohei and his brand new contract?
That could be. It wouldn't surprise me.
I'm just saying. Anyway, we'll cover that next week when. Well, apparently baseball started today.
Because I don't.
Did you see that?
Yeah, because I don't know how his interpreter could have.
I don't either. We'll talk about it later. All right.
Yeah.
You ready to roll?
Yes, sir.
All right, let's get it. In 3, 2, 1. Maybe. There we go. Hello, D-Gens. Welcome to Degenerate Takes on this eve of March Madness. I have Court. Well, I guess technically not, Noah. I guess it's just all how you look at it. You know what I mean? Yes, we have had the first 4 the last couple of days, but I still like to look at this as the eve of March Madness. I don't know. I think that's appropriate.
Yeah, the first 4 is like it's like the opening set at a concert, right? Like
yes,
like you bought your tickets to see the main act, but the first 4, it can be good. It can be good. You can really enjoy it. You know, like I said, not exactly what you bought the tickets to the show for, but it's provided some excitement. I mean, some of the games at least.
Yeah.
Howard. Yeah, Howard and Wagner last night. Howard almost completing a great comeback.
Yeah.
Grambling State getting it done, completing a great comeback. And then you had the shit game that was Colorado State and Virginia, which can't say I'm fucking surprised. Like,
no, God, no.
Yeah, like Virginia was one of those teams that was on the bubble, and it was like, why the hell are they in? And they showed that they had no place being in this tournament. 0 offense. It's like Tony Bennett, weirdest fucking coaching resume in March Madness. He has lost in the first round every single year other than the year that he won the national championship. Every other year he's at a first round loss. And they've had some good seeds. They've had some not that great seeds. But it's interesting. You know, the conversation's going around now, like, is it time to move on from Tony Bennett? And I feel bad for Virginia. I'm just going to say this because I think more so than about any other program, I think Virginia is really getting fucked by the NIL and transfer portal era, because Virginia was so good because they would have these 4-year starters. They would play their game, do their thing. And now I think it's tough for them with NIL around. I don't think they have as many draws or as much money to throw around. You know, Virginia's a tough school, especially if you look at grads and grad transfers. Going to grad school at Virginia is not easy. Like, it is tough to get into grad school, and they're one of those schools that's pretty strict about, like, yes, you have to qualify academically. So their pool of like grad transfers coming in, which can make or break programs, and we've seen that, they don't really have the same access because most of these kids who are going to be grad transfers somewhere else, they don't qualify for grad school at University of Virginia. No. So I don't see the situation getting any better going forward for Virginia. And I think they're one of the, you know, some schools obviously benefiting a ton from this NIL transfer portal era. I think Virginia is one of those that's getting kind of screwed over by it.
Yes, absolutely. I agree with you on that. And there are other schools that are going through, similar situations, if not the same situations. But outside of that, Noah, how dare the committee? And we talked about this when the bracket was released on Sunday, but how dare the committee make us watch another Virginia basketball game this season? That was uncalled for, didn't need to happen, and sure as hell didn't need to waste the first 20 minutes of that game actually watching.
14 points at halftime.
Points at halftime. And you want to talk to me about how Indiana State can't get in? You shitting me on that, bro?
This is a team that went on a over 12-minute, almost 12.5-minute scoring drought from the last 9 minutes and change of the first half into the second half. How do you not score a single point for 12.5 minutes of clock? Not real time. It got so bad that they put up a little graphic on there that said, Virginia has not scored a point since 9:48 p.m. Eastern time. When they start putting the actual clock time and not the basketball play clock, it's bad.
It was unbelievable.
1 hour of real time. They went 1 hour of real time, and you got 20, 25 minutes of halftime in the middle of that, but 1 hour of real time without scoring a single point.
And I'm sorry, that is, if anything, I think just kind of proves the sham that this can be sometimes, with these committees and everything like that, who are just going to throw a big name team in there for shits and giggles. I mean, it was terrible. That was just blatant abuse of power, in my opinion, from the committee. But anyway,
and I do want to say too, because we had other complaints from the public, especially fans of Big East teams who did not get in. The other Big East fans, UConn fans, Marquette fans, Creighton fans on the same side saying, wow, you guys really left out Seton Hall, St. John's, Providence. Newsflash, the Big East went 0-3 yesterday in the first round of the NIT. Not a good look. Not a good look. Swallow your fucking words. And then for some reason, the target of all this hate from the Big East fans became the Mountain West, who was criminally underseeded, by the way.
Absolutely.
And so I said, I'm sitting there thinking, I don't know how you can be mad at the Mountain West for this, or mad at the Mountain West by way of the selection committee. Yeah, the selection committee made some pretty glaring boo-boos in my mistake with picking this, but I think the Mountain West was severely underseeded. They're going to prove that this tournament. Colorado State already coming in. You got 7 seed in the Mountain West beating the 3 seed in the ACC by 25 fucking points. So, we'll see what happens with Boise State and Colorado. Going to tip off in about 10, 15 minutes.
15, I got the clock on.
A lot of people, you don't have to pick this one for your bracket, luckily enough, because a lot of the public is on Colorado, and I'm thinking watch out for Boise State in this.
And I got to say, Noah, because I've been starting to take a look, see, and handicapping these as a sports gambler. You know what I mean? And I think that's one of the big things about March Madness is that there really is 2 aspects to it if you want it to be. There is the bracket making aspect of it, and then there's the actual sports betting of the games. And yes, you can absolutely just go with your bracket and everything like that. But I don't know. No, I like some of these teams to win, but some of these point spreads they're putting out there are starting to scare me a little bit. And let me tell you, the public is all over the place. They are touching teams that I didn't think they would even think about touching. But we're in an interesting time. We're in an interesting time, and I'm excited to talk about it.
It would be fun to have a bracket where you have to pick based on point spread.
Oh, dude.
Now, not realistic because
hard though.
Not realistic because you don't know what the point spread's going to be going forward. But if somebody developed a system where you could have an estimated point spread based on the matchup, no, you couldn't even do that because you could bet on a team to cover but not to win, and then
you do the bracket ATS.
Yeah, they're not
do the bracket ATS though. So if you cover, then that team moves on.
But it would be interesting. Now here's a theory that could work for that is, right, you pick the first round and then it moves on to the second round, but it would have to be a round by round thing. It couldn't be like a full.
It would have to be circa Mega Millions or whatever the hell that football contest is called. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I don't think there's a format that logistically works, unfortunately, but it would be fun if there was.
That'd be so much fun. Oh my God. Maybe we'll win the lottery and develop that, Noah.
You have to pick the teams to cover, but if you don't pick that team, you're not eligible to choose
Another
Like,
team in the second round. So
right.
then you almost start off with you start off with a clean slate.
No, so I'm saying hypothetically, right? Like you pick Auburn to cover the spread against UAB. And then you pick who's the other matchup there? Or no, Auburn's not playing UAB. Auburn, you pick Auburn to cover against Yale, but you pick UAB to cover against San Diego State. And then Auburn covers the spread.
Yeah.
San Diego State does, or you pick San Diego State as well. UAB covers that spread. So then UAB, you picked against San Diego State, so you wouldn't be able to pick them. You would be forced to pick Auburn.
I got
if that makes sense.
Yeah, I do. Yeah.
But then it's so hard, like predictively, to be like, then you're stuck picking one team to cover the spread 6 games in a row, which,
yeah,
maybe that works. Maybe that's fun. I mean, betting on a team to cover the spread 6 games straight would be pretty crazy,
dude.
but then they would have to be a winner, because then they don't move on if they're the underdog and they cover but they lose. So I guess that doesn't work either. There's not really a good way of doing this, but fun in theory. Very
fun in theory. But Noah, while we can work on that in theory, we can talk about the not theory. What's the opposite? Untheory lines? The real lines? I don't know. I was trying to make something work there, and it just was not working whatsoever. So let's, as Money Picks in the chat says, let's talk about some money. What is up? Mitch in the chat. You would get SDSU in the next round, and the same situation would apply in the next round. So, hey, Mitch understands what we're talking about. Shout out to Mitch in the chat. He understands what we're trying to get at with this spread situation, but we'll work on it. Maybe we come up with that for next season, Noah. But you ready to jump into this?
Hell yeah.
Let's go. Talking first round spreads here for March Madness. We will start with the Thursday games, because why would we start with Friday games when Thursday is tomorrow?
Yes, Thursday does come before Friday.
That does make sense. So I'm glad that we're on the same page there, Noah. Let's get it moving. Starting there with Michigan State, Mississippi State. Michigan State -1.5 here. The 8 and the 9 seed here, Noah. How are you feeling about this?
About how the spread feels. I mean, I think this game's this game's a fucking toss-up. Man, I don't know. Like, I think this, and as we were going through the bracket, like I said, there were like 4 or 5, maybe 6, I think more than 4, 5 or 6 games where I was like, these are really fucking hard games for me to pick. This was one of them. I don't know where to go on this. I'm gonna ride with Mississippi State just on the money line.
Okay.
I like that +100. I don't feel super strongly about either team to win this game.
Fair.
Or lose this game. I do think whoever does win this game is going to give North Carolina a little bit of a fit in the second round. I don't know that they'll beat them, but they'll make it interesting.
Yeah. As you mentioned, I've been flip-flopping on this game as well. And I do want to say, since I will be live starting tomorrow for the first round action, I do reserve the right to change my picks up until tip-off, betting-wise, as I get like the feel for the day. You know what I mean, Noah? But right now, what?
You also got Michigan State here, and as we know, the only 2 Big Ten teams that have shown that they can perform in the last 5, 6, 7, 8 years in the tournament is Michigan and Michigan State. So that makes me nervous, because for whatever reason, the Big Ten always sucks, and those are the only 2 teams out of the Big Ten that seem to ever make a run.
Yep, and Noah, honestly, for that reason and that reason alone, and the experience with Tom Izzo, I'm going with Michigan State on the money line there. Not going to mess around with the 1.5, because I feel like I'm going to get my heart absolutely broken. But that's going to be that'll be a good game to start off.
I don't know why you would take the 1.5 when you're
got to pay an extra 10 cents on the 120. Exactly. You're paying an extra 10 cents for the 120. I would take that all day long. Where is the public on this one? I forgot about this. 62% of the bet, 66% of the money on Michigan State with the number.
Yeah, I'm okay fading the public bet there with Mississippi State.
and I'm okay riding with them. Duquesne, the Dukes, 9.5-point dogs to BYU. 142 is the total here, Noah. Public, a little split on this. 56% of the bets, 45% of the money on BYU. So you do have a little bit of extra money coming in here on Duke. How are we feeling?
Tough.
Yeah.
It's tough. So the sharps are on Duquesne.
That's what it appears, yes.
The 9.5 is tough because of what BYU is.
Yes.
They are probably the most live or die by the 3-point shot team in the entire tournament.
For sure.
Which just scares the shit out of me. It scared the shit out of me picking my bracket, and I hate the 9.5-point line because if BYU, I said when we were picking the bracket, I said whoever wins this game probably wins it by double digits.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, fuck, I don't know. I'm probably, I'll probably take BYU minus 9.5, but I'm also going to add a small side bet on Duquesne minus like 7.5 or 8.5, something like that. Because
little splash there.
Maybe not even that, but you don't even need to go up that much. Like probably Duquesne minus 4.5 is enough to cover that BYU bet plus a little extra. Yeah. So that's probably how I'm splitting it. BYU on the spread at 9.5 and then Duquesne at like 3.5, 4.5, because you're moving the line 14, 15 points. You're going to get some good juice on that. Probably like plus 500. So you only need to throw a little bit on that to cover your ass on BYU. And that way, like, you're making money either way, right? Like, let's just do 3.5 for example.
Oh, whoops. You're getting 3.5 at 495.
Yeah, and I like that. I'll probably, like I said, put a little sprinkle on that and then ride BYU minus 9.5. Obviously, BYU loses small. Mm-hmm. It's a close game. You're losing not double because I'm not putting a unit on Duquesne to cover 3.5, but
you're putting a half or something like that on that.
But I'm just covering myself because if Duquesne wins, I think they will win by 4+. And if BYU wins, I think they can win by a lot. So
yeah, and we'll take a look at this a little bit more tomorrow morning when I'm live. But I'm liking like Duquesne first half +5. I mean, March Madness early under 65.5 as well in that first half. I mean, oh man, we're all the way back.
The over under sucks too because that also depends. That also depends on how BYU is shooting.
Yeah. I'm gonna ride with you, Noah. I think BYU is gonna win this game, and I think they're gonna cover this game handedly. I think this is, as we mentioned, sharps seem to be on Duquesne, but the line's been holding strong there at 9.5, 10.5, 11, and so. I mean, if anything, you're getting reverse line movement against Duquesne. So,
yeah, I mean, I'm just torn on that one because, like, if my mind's at a point where I'm like, if I'm betting Duquesne, I don't need 9.5. Like, if I'm confident,
you're going for the kill,
and I'm not confident enough in Duquesne to do that. But like, if I was like dead set confident on Duquesne, I wouldn't even be fucking around with the 9.5. I'd just be hitting the money line. Like, this is a weird game. We're not going to run into too many situations like this, but BYU is a weird team that, like I said, absolutely live or die by the 3. So when they're bad, they're really bad. And when they're good, they're able to like really put up a lot of points and stretch a lead to a big number. So, BYU is one of those teams where they just scare me overall because when they suck, they suck. But when they're on, they're on.
Yeah. It's a tough one. It's a tough one, but I think BYU is going to handle it. All right, Akron, Creighton. Creighton, 11.5-point favorites here against Akron. 141 is the total. Noah, I've been trying to find a reason to take Akron, and I am yet to find one, not only in the brackets, but here with 11.5. Can you convince me?
No, Akron kind of, they were one of those teams that kind of backpedaled their way into the tournament. They were in first place for most of the year in the MAC, lost it late to Toledo. Most of the good teams in the MAC lost before Akron got there, so Akron didn't even have to play a lot of the good teams in their own conference in the tournament. Got in because of that. this team was looking like a solid 12 seed earlier this year and dropped themselves to a 14, still got in, kudos to them, whatever. But they just have not looked good as of late. And I think Creighton's going to be too much for them to be able to handle. And so I like Creighton to cover the 11.5 in this one. I don't have Creighton going very far in my bracket, but this is one of the most confident first round picks I have, is that Creighton will move on, and I think they'll cover that 11.5 just fine.
57% of the bets and 67% of the money are on who, Noah?
Akron.
On Akron, plus the 11.5, 12.5, 13, wherever you can find it. Again, shop those lines. I'm right there with you. I'm thinking Creighton takes this one, handles business easy, and gets moving on to the second round, where maybe we're having a different conversation.
Yeah, funny enough, I saw some stats on winning percentage over the last, I don't remember how many years. It was like the last 8 years or the last 10 years by seed.
Mm-hmm.
And it does go a little out of order. It was, 1, 2, 4, 3. And then I think 6 seeds. No, not 6. I don't know. But then it was like some other, like, maybe 10 seeds were right, like 5th best winning percentage. Like 10s and 11s have had a lot of success as of late.
Yeah.
14s, way down at the bottom. Better than 16s. Only 2 of those have ever won. But 15 seeds have won more games than 14 seeds have. And so, if you're picking your upsets, obviously everyone loves the 5-12s, which actually, if you look at the last few tournaments, the 12s haven't performed super well.
No.
The 11s have. 12s still doing better than 13s by a little slim margin, but then there's a big drop off. Like 14s don't win very often. I don't think Akron has a chance at winning this one.
No.
And I don't even think they're going to cover.
No, I don't either. Mitch over in the chat says he's got Dukes. So JMU, I'm assuming, parlayed with another dog for a quarter of a unit. On the money line.
Duquesne is also the Dukes, AJ. So that's
probably what he mentioned. That's probably what he meant. Yep. Definitely what he meant. I'm better than that. I should know that. Anyway.
We got Duke and 2 teams that's mascot is the Dukes, so
that's a shame. But keeping it moving, Noah. Long Beach State, U of A Wildcats, 20.5 point favorites here, Noah. 163 is the total. Noah, we talked about it early in the season when college basketball first starts, you get these non-conference games with these big teams going up against, these other teams. And you see these 20.5 point spreads, and we're like, hey, you got to be comfortable with uncomfortable numbers sometimes and take those big spreads. I mean, I know it's March Madness, Noah, but I'm looking at Long Beach. I'm looking at Arizona. Is there a reason we don't take that 20.5?
Yeah. Big reason.
Let me hear it.
Long Beach, they got a coach who, as he said in his press conference today, I'm not answering any questions I don't want to answer because I'm working for free right now.
Yeah, I didn't like hearing that.
Their backs are against the wall. They got nothing to lose. I think they're going to keep it close in the first half. I think we'll pull away. I don't like 20.5. If this was sitting at like 14.5, 15.5, yeah, I'd be more inclined to ride Arizona. Like, I think we're going to win comfortably in this one.
Yeah.
But I think Long Beach is going to find a way to cover that 20.5. Like I said, I think they probably keep it close. We're maybe dealing with like a 4 to 6 point game at halftime. We'll play a good second half and outlast them. I don't think they're going to be able to keep up with our speed and athleticism the whole game, but 20.5 just seems like too much.
I'm with you. It's a lot of points, but it also just feels like, U of A, especially the last couple of years, have had these first round issues. I feel like if we can get ahead, we are going to want to step on a throat and make a statement. And so I'm okay with laying 20.5 with U of A. Definitely not my most confident pick of the tournament so far, but one that I'm willing to give a shot,
Yeah. And I'm on the under in this game, actually.
Yeah, under 163.
Yeah, I think something people don't pay a lot of attention to is Arizona's defense, because the points per game number is a little bit higher, but that's because we play one of the fastest paces in the entire country. So the other team gets a lot more possessions. If you look at it from like a points per possession, we do very well defensively this year, and I think we'll be able to hold Long Beach State to a lower number, like low to mid 60s. And I don't think we're dropping 100 points on them. So I'm liking the under big time in this one.
Fair enough. I can respect it. I might ride that. Keeping it moving, Noah Wagner, North Carolina. 25 points is the spread here. North Carolina, the favorite. I mean, what do you do with this?
Well, Wagner's probably the second worst team in the tournament field.
Also true.
Maybe the worst. Between them and Stetson, depending on what metrics you're looking at, the ones I like to look at, I figure Long Beach State's actually the third worst team. So, yeah. Tough, but I think back to Arizona, I think we're going to come out a little lousy early, which is why I like Long Beach State to cover. But yeah, Wagner, not a good team. They have 7 healthy players on their roster, which of note, they have played much better since their roster has been much more limited.
True.
But you're not keeping up with North Carolina with 7 healthy players. You got 2 guys coming off the bench. If they get into any sort of foul trouble, North Carolina is just going to absolutely wreak havoc here. This is one of those 1 seed matchups where I'm riding the 25 points on this. I think this is going to be a 40-point blowout by North Carolina.
Yeah, no, I'm right there with you. I think this is going to be a big game for North Carolina. They're going to kind of announce that they're here and they're ready to roll. Yeah, I'm liking North Carolina. They're minus the 25.
Also, give me that over in this one, because it's low. I mean, I guess pace of play is supposed to be a little bit slower, but don't be surprised if this is one of those 116 matchups where the 1 seed's dropping like 90 to 100 points on them. So
yeah.
I think if North Carolina can drop 90, I think Wagner will be fine to put up 43 or 44.
Yeah. Now, next one's one I've been excited for, and I've been just biting at the chomps here, Noah. Morehead State, Illinois, 11.5-point favorites here, Noah. You and I have been very, very high on Morehead State. We got them going pretty deep in the bracket, and we've been thinking that they can handle Illinois. Seeing them as 11.5-point favorites, does that make you worried? Does that cause you any distress? And does it cause you distress if I say there's 84% of the bets, 97% of the money for Morehead to cover?
Everybody's on Morehead here.
Everyone and their mom is on Morehead at 11.5. And you're not even seeing, and like, it's not your typical, you're not seeing reverse line movement here. The line is moving. Line opened up at 13.5, moving down to 11.5 at some books. So moving to 2.5 points from the public. And so I love it too.
I love it. And it's funny. I don't know if you saw circulating around. It was like all of the 1 and 2 seeds who have been upset in the last like 3 or 4 years. It's all been to, teams that you can make like a penis pun about.
I've seen that
pun about. And then the conclusion of that was, is Longwood the next one? And the answer, and we'll get to that game, is absolutely not. Longwood doesn't stand a fucking chance against Houston. This Morehead State. This is your penis pun, your sex pun. This is the team that's going to win. I get they're a 3 seed or a 14 and not a 15 or a 16, but I'm on the money line for Morehead.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And I'll be slamming that 11.5 harder than the money line, but yeah, I can't trust the Big Ten. I just can't fucking do it. Unless you got Michigan in your name, I can't fucking trust you. And Illinois is kind of a one-man show. I mean, Coleman Hawkins is good, but like Terrence Shannon Jr. is like the only big reason Illinois wins games. And I think Morehead State, having 4 days to game plan how to shut down Terrence Shannon Jr., I think they're just going to be. I think they're going to be okay. I think they're going to come in here and they're going to look the part. Obviously Illinois more talented, so I'm sure this game is close. I don't think we see a blowout by any means, but I think Morehead State's gonna hang in there. If they can give Terrence Shannon Jr. fits, they're gonna be just fine. Like I said, yeah, easy 11.5 bet for me, and
Yeah.
I'm putting some on the money line too on plus 550. I like that juice.
Yeah, no, I am all over it as well. Noah, 550 plus 11.5. Honestly, wouldn't be shocked if by the time we get to tip, it goes to 10.5 or something like that. But we'll see. We'll see what comes of it.
Which that's interesting that betting wise, the public is so heavy on Morehead State because you look at brackets and the bracket wise, it's a lot heavier on Illinois, but I guess I get it. Like minus 800 favorite, you're not picking against the spread on the bracket. So it makes sense why so many people are heavy on Illinois as a 3 seed. But I mean, you got your certain upset picks that are really high on people's radar that a lot of people are picking, that the buzz is flowing about. This is not one I've heard hardly anything about. So it does surprise me that betting wise, so many people are on Morehead State. But leave it to the true degenerates, to the people who pay the most attention.
Yes,
probably
the
bettors, especially the sharps. And yeah, Illinois has been they've had a poor history in the tournament as of late, and I don't see any reason why that would change. You got the same culture, the same coach in Brad Underwood, who is an angry bridge troll, and that was the funniest thing in the Wisconsin Illinois game. I was like, we literally have that. I'm watching that game. I'm like, we literally have two bridge trolls coaching in Greg Gard and Brad Underwood. But yeah, Underwood's a hothead.
Yeah.
I just don't like Illinois' depth. I don't even like their full starting five. I think they got one really damn good player and one pretty good player, and the rest of it's shit. Their bench is shit, so they don't play deep. If they're only going to play 6 or 7 deep, that's not usually a recipe to go far in the March Madness tournament.
No, it's not. And I think, we have both expressed our concerns this entire season about, Illinois and everything they've been doing. So, yeah, I mean, I think it's going to be business as usual for them, but Morehead State's going to come out on top. I'm loving it. Oregon, South Carolina here, Noah. South Carolina, 1-point dogs, 133 the total. This is such an interesting game, Noah, because this is one game I feel like you and I have had one of the hardest times kind of figuring out, because you and I have both gotten to a place where we see Oregon making a Sweet 16 run, but we've also gotten to the place where Oregon just completely flops out here in the first round, excuse me. Where are you landing on this, the eve of March Madness?
The problem here, and I think it's a shitty draw for South Carolina because I really like what they did this season. I really like this South Carolina team. Dana Altman's 7-0 in his career in the first round of the March Madness tournament. And his average seed is like 7 or 8.
Damn.
So the Ducks have been the lower seed in I think 5 out of those 7 first round games that Dana Altman's played or coached. I gotta ride that. And Oregon ending the season hot, going on a run, if you can call it that, to win the Pac-12 tournament. I'm gonna take Oregon just on the money line. I don't need to mess around with that little tiny differential in line for the 1 point. So yeah, just take Oregon money line on that one.
I'm going South Carolina. I'm going South Carolina on the money line. Whenever I'm flopping on this game, Noah, I keep coming back to, but do I really trust Oregon? I've watched Oregon play this season. Do I really trust this team to go out and get a round 1 victory? No, I got more faith in South Carolina, so I'm rolling with that. It does concern me. 57% of the bet, 74% of the money on South Carolina.
I think something to note, you got a fully healthy N'Faly Dante for Oregon, who is their best player. He's had some issues with injury this year, part of the reason for some of their losses. Otherwise, they probably would have been good enough to qualify for an at-large. They were looking like that early. He got injured. They dropped some games. They fell out of that conversation. They had to win the Pac-12. They won the Pac-12 tournament, and now they're in. And I do think Oregon's better than what are they, an 11 seed?
Yes.
Yeah, I think they're better than an 11. I think they should have gotten fucked by getting stuck on the 8-9 line, but that's just me. They got an 11. Not an easy matchup, obviously, but this is tough because both of these two teams could make a run. They're both going to have a really, really tough game against each other in this first round.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. No ifs, ands, or buts about that. Again, I reserve the right to change my picks until the game tips off and I'm live. Keeping it moving, Noah. Nevada, Dayton. This is one where the book disagrees with the committee. Nevada, 1.5 point favorite here as a 10 seed. But I mean, I'm thinking the book's just kind of cooking what we're already thinking.
Yeah, us and the public. I don't know where the numbers are on this one, but I'm sure they are heavy on Nevada. On Nevada.
Yeah.
Yeah. Dayton got into the tournament by playing a super, super weak non-conference schedule, which they're not the only team that did that. Apparently that mattered this year. And the committee favored teams that played a very weak non-con. Like we said, Mountain West, super criminally underranked in this one. Nevada has no place being a 10 seed, and I hate that as an Arizona fan that we might have to play them in the second round because what the fuck are they doing as a 10 seed?
That's a tough matchup.
Although this matchup, could have been fair if you flipped them. If you put Dayton as the 10 and Nevada as the 7, which is weird that my mind's like, okay, then I wouldn't be upset about playing Nevada in the second round. Which would be the same matchup. I just think they got these two seeds flip-flop.
Yeah.
Dayton, 0 wins against the field of 68.
That's bad.
That concerns the shit out of me. This is a 1.5 point spread. I'm not even thinking twice about it. I'm taking Nevada.
Yep. Nevada minus the 1.5 on the money line every which way possible. Thank you very much. All right. Colorado State, Texas. Colorado State, 2.5 point dogs going into this one. 144 is the total here, Noah. Oh, they are tempting me. With that Colorado State here, plus the 2.5. 65% of the bets, 86% of the money on who, Noah?
Colorado State.
Yep, on Colorado State. How do you think this one plays out?
Rightfully so. I mean, Texas is one of those teams where I was like, I don't understand how they got placed into the tournament. Nonetheless, a 7 seed. I would have kept Texas out completely, and I get their resume, the Big 12, all that, whatever. Texas has done nothing to impress me all season long. Colorado State's tough for me too, because obviously they started really strong, and then I've been fading them a lot, not gonna lie, but that's in Mountain West play against a lot of these other really good teams. I think Colorado State takes this game on a money line for that too, because I have zero faith in Texas doing anything.
No, do me a favor, put those horns all the way up so that we can put them all the way down and offend everyone that's a Longhorns fan. Horns all the way down. And I think we continue to get that. Give me Colorado State plus the 118, plus the 2.5. First half, second half, third half, fourth half. Give me Colorado State and the horns all the way down. Let's ride. Kentucky, Oakland. Kentucky, 13.5 point favorites going into this. 162 is the total here. Noah, I'm going to start off with this one. Shout out to Oakland for making the dance. Congratulations. But yeah, no, I got no faith here. I'm going with Kentucky minus the 13.5. Yes, 75% of them bets. 93% of the money is on Kentucky here, and it's chalky as hell. But I mean, Noah, I can't figure out another angle on this game. I think Kentucky dominates.
Yeah, I mean, I'd have to agree. I just don't see Oakland being able to put up enough of a fight here.
No.
Like I've said, loved watching the Horizon League this year. Super fun matchups. They beat up on each other a lot, but
yeah,
it's the Horizon League, and it's John Calipari in Kentucky, and I think this has the makings of a massive first round blowout.
Huge. I love it. Keeping it moving. McNeese State, Gonzaga. Gonzaga, 6.5 point favorites here, 149.5 is the total. And Noah, I know what you're wondering. And yes, the public is completely on them. But not only the public, big money and the sharps as 68% of the bets, 81% of the money on McNeese State here, plus the 6.5. And Noah, I think this is another one of those ones. You just slam the money line and just have a good day.
Yeah, this is one that I don't think this line is right.
No.
Hard part is like bracket wise, picking McNeese to go Sweet 16, even Elite 8 in some brackets.
Yeah.
That's tough because I truly feel that this game should be just about a pick 'em.
I'm with you.
And so it scares the hell out of me. I did make one bracket where I chose Gonzaga going a little bit farther in the tournament because I think if Gonzaga gets past McNeese, they'll be in the Sweet 16, if not the Elite 8 or farther. It's just tough. Like I think both of these teams are very good. I think it should be a pick 'em, so I'm going 6.5 on McNeese, easy peasy, and the money line scares me, but it is juiced a little bit, so I am going to put a little bit on that. I think this one's a coin flip. I really do.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a lot closer than people are imagining. But the public, I mean, they're thinking that 6.5 is free money.
Too much.
At this point.
Well, it's too much. It's too much is what it is.
That's fair. Alrighty. South Dakota State and Iowa State. Iowa State 15.5 point favorites here. Noah, if I said 57% of the bets, 95% of the money, that's on what team?
Iowa State.
South Dakota State with 57% of the bets, 95% of the money. And you're getting reverse line movement here. Line opening up at 14.5, moving to 16.5. So Iowa State. That's a lot of points, bro. I know that's a lot of points, but I don't see South Dakota State being able to keep up. I don't.
Yeah. Oh man, the 15.5 is just tough here. Like South Dakota
line. Don't get me wrong.
South Dakota State, I think, might be the best 15 seed that we have in this tournament. However, Iowa State's the best 2 seed.
Yeah.
And probably should have taken that 1 seed over North Carolina, in my opinion. And, that's an opinion a lot of people share as well. But, man. So the tough part here for me is, like, am I betting on South Dakota State and what I've seen from them this season, which has been good. I mean, they dominated their conference. They didn't have a great non-conference, and that's kind of why I think I'm going to go with Iowa State. And Iowa State has had a number of games non-conference where they absolutely beat the shit out of like mid-major and low-major schools. So that being said, Iowa State beating Houston the way they did to cap off the season. I'm going to take Iowa State to cover the 15.5. I have a lot of faith in them. They would be a Final Four lock for me if they weren't stuck with Auburn and UConn in their quadrant of the bracket.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. That's a tough bracket they're in, a tough part of the bracket they're in. But I'm rolling with Iowa State as well, minus that 15.5. Noah, 2 teams. I mean, St. Peter's, Tennessee. I mean, 21.5 points. Tennessee is favored here.
I have to do it.
I know you do. And it's fine. I respect it.
I have to do it. And that's
Go ahead, do it.
And that's taking Tennessee minus 21.5.
Oh, I hate that. I hate this line.
I think Tennessee blows the fucking brakes off of St. Peter's.
I know.
There's been a lot of Tennessee hype the last few years in the tournament. This team is their best product yet under Rick Barnes. Now, Rick Barnes has failed to make it deep in the tournament his entire career. We're not talking about going deep here. We're talking about blowing out a St. Peter's team who is not very good. They're not very good.
Yes.
And I'm sure there's bets and money on them where there shouldn't be because people remember the St. Peter's team of 2 years ago. Well, guess what? Same deal as when we were picking the bracket. completely different roster, new coach. Like, this is not the same St. Peter's. The only thing that's the same is their team name and their mascot. They are 100% different. They lucked into this tournament bid by way of an easy path and some lucky bounces through their conference tournament. So they probably shouldn't even be here. And Tennessee's a damn good team. So I got to ride Tennessee minus 21.5. Don't get a big head, Tennessee fans, because I will shit on you soon enough.
Yeah, just give us till
Just
Saturday.
It's not now. I like you to win by 20, 22 plus in the first round.
I hate this Tennessee team, but yeah, I'll go 21.5 too and just pray. Just pray that St. Peter's doesn't get hot again.
Yeah, I don't think they will.
I know. NC State, Texas Tech. NC State, 4.5-point dogs going into this one. 146 is the total here, Noah. Go ahead, convince me. Why should I pick Texas Tech here?
Oh, God. Well,
because I don't like this team here. I don't like how this team's been playing, and I don't like them against this NC State team.
This is a really tough one for me as well. When we were picking our bracket, this is one of the 5 or 6 where I said this is a really fucking hard game, especially because whoever wins this game could advance, which makes the tough round 1 matchups even tougher when you're like, oh, okay,
yeah,
like Oregon, South Carolina. I'm like, I could see both of them making a run. I could see them both making a run. Michigan State, Mississippi State. I think whoever wins that game will have a chance against North Carolina. I don't like them to win, but fuck. I like on paper, everything is telling me Texas Tech should win this game.
But it's March.
But then I have like that gut feeling. Like my gut is telling me NC State and my head is telling me Texas Tech. And so I'm at an internal conflict with this one. I'm going to take NC State to cover the 4.5 points. Regardless. I think Texas Tech wins this though. And then and then I go and contemplate Texas Tech minus 4.5 because I think the ACC is just trash.
I know.
Like Virginia was the number 3 team in the ACC.
Yes.
We saw what happened to them. Pitt was the number 4 team in the ACC, and they didn't even fucking make the tournament.
But I think you and I can both agree there's a difference between NC State and those 2 teams.
I don't think so. I mean, they were metrically way worse. They were the 10th seed in the fucking ACC tournament. Like, that's for a reason. And they're hot right now, and I do like to use recency bias when I'm making my picks because I do think college basketball is streaky.
Yeah.
Like, teams go on good and bad streaks. It was like with Quinnipiac, right? They had, I think they had 8 losses. And I'm like, I don't care because they lost 5 games in a row in conference play. And I just write off that 5 games and ignore it. Now, they did get, unfortunately, beat on a buzzer beater put back by St. Peter's.
Yeah.
Otherwise, they would be in the 15 seed, and I would have been talking about a 15-2 upset with Quinnipiac, but not the case. Anyways, I digress. NC State's kind of hot. They're going to have the public behind them, which is kind of big in these first and second round games where you have to buy session tickets. So, you know, every one of these games, you got fans of 4 different teams there, and the fans of the 2 teams that are not playing more often than not tend to root for the underdog.
Yes.
And that gives a little bit of oomph to the underdog when when you got theoretically 3/4 of the arena cheering for you. It makes it basically a home game.
Yes.
So assuming this is a home game for NC State, 4.5, that's the end of my rant. Gonna stay off of the money line, but it might be enough. I don't think Texas Tech is 7.5 points better than NC State.
Fair. Yeah, I'm going NC State here plus the 4.5. Like you said, no, I think they cover this one. I like the recency bias. Sprinkling that money line too. I do like NC State to beat Texas Tech here and move on to the second round.
Hey, I just want to say real quick.
Yeah.
Speaking of Bridge Troll head coaches, Tad Boyle of Colorado, another Bridge Troll.
Yep, throw them up there.
Just big, burly, angry guys. That's yeah. Brad Underwood, Tad Boyle.
So what's Bobby Hurley? Just an angry troll?
He's like an imp.
An imp? The fuck is an imp?
Like a little angry man. Him and Mick Cronin, they're both imps. they're just little angry men.
Fair enough, Noah. Fair enough.
Yeah, Tad Boyle, Brad Underwood, those are big, angry, burly men. Like they're bridge trolls.
They are. I'm with you there. All right, 2 more games left in Thursday night round 1 action as we've got Samford and KU. KU 7-point favorites here.
How is this still a 7-point spread?
Line opened up at 9.5, moving down to 7, 7.5, 6.5 at some books. 86% of the bets, 80% of the money on Samford right now, Noah. And this is a round 1 upset that we've been calling for, that we've been interested in. And yes, before
we knew that McCullough was out for the entire tournament.
Yes.
Before we knew that Hunter Dickinson is questionable and we don't know if he's even playing or not. And I don't know if it's
100%.
And it's obviously to Kansas's advantage to not distinguish whether he is or isn't out from game planning perspective. But if they're both out, Samford is blowing the brakes off of Kansas like Cincinnati did in the Big 12 tournament with Bowl.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, Cincinnati beat him by 20. I think Samford can beat him by 10 or 15. If Dickinson's in, I mean, I'm a little bit of a hater on Dickinson. I don't think he's as good as people make him out to be. What?
Huh?
No, Hunter Dickinson. Grady Dick.
Yeah.
He's
I know he's not as good as Grady Dick. I thought you were comparing the two KU stars with Dick names.
No.
Oh, my bad.
That's apples to oranges, man. Come on. But yeah, I mean, if they're both out, I don't even think Kansas has a chance if they're both out. If Dickinson's in, I think it makes a bit of a difference, but not a huge difference. I mean, I'm riding Samford money line on this. I mean, I'll be slamming the 7 because Kansas's top player is out for sure, and their second best player could quite well be out as like on top of that. And it's funny every time I see these brackets, some of these accounts love to just pump out all of these celebrities and pro athletes brackets, and I've seen a lot of them that have Kansas going to like the Sweet 16, Elite 8. And I'm like, are you guys aware that they're missing their top player and maybe their top 2 players?
Where does Drake have him going? That's all I care about. Fading Drake's bracket.
So yeah, I'm big time on Samford. I was on them before we knew that news. I knew it was going to be a little bit of a risky pick, but I'm like very confident they win this game.
Yeah, I'm feeling good about Samford as well, not only with the injuries to KU, but also the fact that this is not the same KU team that it has been with the past. Like even when they're fully healthy, just they're not clicking, they're not all the way there. And so I'm comfortable with Samford plus the 7, as you mentioned, and definitely taking that money line plus 228. I'd take Samford, and then what was that other favorite we like, Noah? That other underdog? Motherfucker. It'll come back. Moorhead, thank you. Samford Moorhead.
That'd be parlay. A juicy 2-leg parlay right there.
Ooh, that is some juice there. Keeping it moving. Drake, Washington State. 1-point dogs going into this one, plus 105 on the money line. Feeling some disrespect to the Pac-12 here in Washington State, Noah?
Not to the Pac-12, just to Washington State.
Fair.
This is one of those trendy upset picks, which, if you can even call it that, seeding-wise it is, Drake being favored. This is classic 2/3 of America and people doing whatever. Don't watch the late night West Coast games because Washington State's a damn good team, and I'm not throwing any shade at Drake. They're really good, but they're a one-man show. It's Tucker DeVries, who is very, very good. If you follow the Missouri Valley at all, Tucker DeVries is
Oh
a
yeah.
fucking stud, and he's great. I can't really say the same about anybody else on Drake, and they're well coached by Darian DeVries, Tucker DeVries' father. If you were wondering, yes, that's right. I think Washington State's going to control the pace of this game. They are taller, they are bigger, they are stronger, and this is going to be a boring game to watch. That's my prediction.
Oh yeah.
And I think Washington State's going to win this, and I think they're going to win it just fine. I'm sure the public, money wise, is on Drake. Bet wise is probably on Drake. Pick wise, I know it's been a very trendy bracket pick to pick Drake, but I'm riding with Washington State on this one, and I feel actually pretty confident about Washington State on top of.
Do you want to know how trendy of a pick Drake has been, Noah?
How trendy are we?
We're talking 93% of the bets, 99% of the money.
Yeah, and
line opened up at Drake plus 1.5.
That makes sense with the line because Washington State should be like a 3 or a 4 or a 5 point favorite. And
absolutely.
A 1 point underdog because the books are begging people to bet on Washington State because they have so much money on Drake.
On their hands and knees. That is probably their biggest liability.
But Washington State plus 105 is going to be a wonderful bet right there.
I love it. What is it? What are they? What's the first half, you think? I'm curious. What the
probably half a point.
Half a point. Getting Washington State plus 100 on the money line, though. That's not too shabby.
I think Washington State, like I said, with these first round games, it's a different story because you got 4 or 5 days to prep, to game plan.
Yeah.
Washington State's gonna be fine.
Yes, I'm not worried about it.
I think Drake's gonna struggle with Washington State's size and height.
I'm with you. I can get there. I can get there too. Well, no, that is round 1, day 1 of March Madness. You got anything else to say on those picks?
No, sir. I'm probably wrong on half of them, but
Hey, no, good vibes only. No, we're hitting every bet tomorrow.
Yes, sir.
The ones we disagree on, I'm hitting those ones.
The best ones are going to be the ones where I'm taking the underdog plus the points, but then I took the other team to advance in my bracket, and then I'll just be like, all right, come on, let's lose and cover.
Lose and cover, baby. Let's go. Well, let's go ahead. Before we get into the Friday of the bracket, Noah, do you mind if we take a quick break and refill?
Let's do it.
All right, sounds good. We will be back in just a minute. See you guys in a moment. All right, here we go. And we are back. Hello, D-Gens. Welcome to our final March Madness preview with our best bets, locks, and predictions. We just went through the first round, day one, and we are going to go through day two now. And if you do like what we're cooking, please hit that like button. Helps us out a lot more than you know. Noah, ready to get in round two? I mean, round one, day two.
Absolutely.
You knew what I meant. All right, let's get into it, bub. Starting us off with Northwestern FAU, the Owls getting a early start here. Noah, how are we looking?
You know, if you asked me a day and a half ago, I would have said I am very, very confident on Northwestern.
Mm-hmm. But it's today.
Ah, man. Good showings in the NIT yesterday. And this is why I'm a little more hesitant. I'm spoiler alert, still on Northwestern, but not quite as confidently because North Texas and USF, who is better than FAU and should be here in FAU's place, and I don't know why they weren't. Both of them played very well against Power 5 teams in the NIT yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
So makes me wonder about the American a little bit.
A little bit.
I think, you know, looking at it, analyzing it, I think maybe the American has a little more legs to stand on. Maybe they were a little bit of tougher conference than we maybe thought, but I'm not going to read too much into that. I'm still riding Northwestern. Yeah. And this is going to be a really, really fucking fun game. And the reason it's going to be a really fun game is two players, one on each side. Boo Buie on Northwestern.
Boo Buie.
And John L. Davis on Florida Atlantic. And I think we could see each of them go for 30 points in this game. Like,
wow.
Like, this is going to be a dogfight between Boo Buie and John L. Davis because, you know, Northwestern, they've had two of their starters are injured or out, and they've done what they have this season with those injuries, battling it, taking Purdue to overtime twice, falling short twice. But FAU's just been kind of disappointing this year, and that's why I'm riding with Northwestern. I'm going to take the over, though, because I do think we're going to see an all-time classic type of battle that might get forgotten because it's an 8-9 matchup, and whoever wins is probably going to get blown up by UConn. But I think this is going to be a game to circle, and it's beautiful that it's starting off the day because you get to watch the entire first half before any other game is even on, and just watch. Oh man, Boo Buie, John L. Davis. This is one of the games I'm most excited for from a watching perspective, even though I probably won't get to watch most of it because it's right at the start of my workday, but that's fine. This is going to be a really, really good game. I might have to tape it and watch it later, you know?
Oh yeah. No, it's going to be an epic game. 76% of the bets, 35% of the money on Northwestern. And so that's 24% of the bets, 65% of the money on FAU.
So the sharps are on FAU.
Yep.
Public's on Northwestern.
Yep.
I mean, I think it's going to be a battle. Like I said,
yeah.
I just got to ultimately ride with Northwestern on this one. But, you know, FAU is capable of playing really, really damn good games. We saw that when they played Arizona earlier this year. But they've also lost some really bad ones. And that makes me nervous.
That does make me nervous. But it also, like, the ones they lost bad were the really good teams, if I remember correctly.
No. The bad losses I'm talking about are like bad teams in their
Oh, those ones. Oh, okay. Yeah, they had a couple of those too.
like losing to Temple in the semifinal of the conference tournament there.
That is tough. I can't bet on a team that lost to Temple. Give me Northwestern plus a 2.5. Thank you very much. I might sprinkle that money line too now that we're talking about it. Give me that over too.
Goes against my bet against the Big Ten strategy.
I know.
But there's a couple Big Ten teams that we don't usually see in the tournament, and I'm hoping maybe they're different, like Northwestern. Maybe they're different. It's not your Purdue, Wisconsin, Illinois, who always like to lose very early. Ohio State, same deal. But maybe Northwestern's a little different. Boo Booey has that dog in him. He has that dog in him. He'll be a first round pick. He'll be playing in the NBA next year. He'll be fun to watch because he knows how to score the rock.
Oh, that's for damn sure.
So does John L. Davis. I'm sure we'll see both of them go in the first round of the NBA draft. So that's why you should watch this game if you needed a reason to, other than it's the only game on at the time. But I truly think this is going to be one of the most exciting games of the first round.
I'm with you there. I think it's going to be, I really do think it's going to be a fun game to watch. Nice and early in the morning, too. We love that. Colgate, Baylor, 14-point favorites here, Noah. Any reason we wouldn't take Baylor here?
Unfortunately, I don't think Colgate's got a chance in this one.
No.
Baylor is a very solid team, but they're not overly impressive, is kind of my take on them.
Yeah.
That's fair. You don't really see shit games out of Baylor, though, so I don't think there's any worry about them losing this game. I don't really love 14. Would have liked to see this at 10 or 11, but I'm still riding with Baylor on 14 on this. I think they'll Scott Drew's got plenty of experience. He's going to have this team ready. They're not going to get caught off guard.
Well, no, if it makes you feel any better, you had no chance at 10.5. This line opened up at 12.5 and moved its way up. Baylor minus 14. Thank you very much. Tough game for me. This one's been a tough one for me. UAB, San Diego State. San Diego State 7-point favorites here. 139.5 is the total. 83% of the bets, 83% of the money on which team, Noah?
San Diego State.
UAB with all of that money and bets on it, Noah.
Interesting.
I don't know.
Yeah, the only tough part about this is the 7-point spread for me. I mean,
that is difficult.
I don't see San Diego State losing this game. We talked about the Mountain West being severely underseeded. I think San Diego State got overseeded, and then the rest of the conference had to suffer because of that.
Yeah.
And I don't fully understand it when you had kind of the top 6-7 teams, at least the top 5 teams, if you take out Colorado State and UNLV, who's playing tonight, I believe, in the NIT. Top 5 teams in this conference: San Diego State, Utah State, Boise State, New Mexico, Nevada, all very similar, all battling it out all season. Any of them could win or lose to each other on any given day, and 4 of them get 10 or 11 seeds, and then San Diego State gets a 5 seed. I don't really get how that works, other than they made the Final Four last year, which is the only reason FAU's even in the tournament. I don't see San Diego State losing in any world. In this one. UAB 4th or 5th best team in the American. Got that automatic qualifier. Good for them. This is one of those 5-12 matchups where I'm fully on San Diego State, and I'm even going to take them to cover 7.
I'm with you. I think San Diego State takes this one. I mean, UAB has been looking okay, but San Diego State may have been overranked, but not that severely. I'll take the 7 there. Considering we also haven't seen any line movement. Well, I guess line opened up at 7.5, moving to 7 with all of that on UAB. So
I just think UAB is a weak 12. Against a different 12. If San Diego State had drawn like McNeese or GCU or even James Madison, if they had drawn any of the other 12s, different story, but I don't have faith in UAB to get it done.
No, I'm with you. I don't either. They have a chance. Anyway, Western Kentucky, Marquette 14.5-point favorites here. 158.5 is the total, Noah. Marquette?
No, actually.
Really? Taking the Hilltoppers to cover?
I think this is going to be an interesting game. I think the Hilltoppers are going to catch Marquette with their pants down to start the game.
Ooh, okay.
And I'm not picking the Hilltoppers to win.
Okay.
But I think they catch Marquette with their pants down, get out to like a 6 to 10 point lead early on in the first half. I think we're about neck and neck at halftime.
Okay.
And then Marquette's going to come out and perform in the second half. So I like Marquette to win, but I'm taking the Hilltoppers to cover 14.5 in this one.
I like it.
I
like it.
I believe this is the lowest 215 spread that we have.
Yes, I would agree with that. And Noah, Hilltoppers, they have the best mascot, I think, of this tournament right now. And I would love to see them live to fight another day. But like you said, I think Marquette edges it out. But 14.5 is a lot of fucking points. I'll take it with you, bub. I don't know. Again, I reserve the rights. Huh?
Speaking of a lot of points.
Oh, speaking of a lot of points. UConn, Stetson, UConn, 26.5 point favorites here. 145.5 is the total. But it's a lot of points, Noah. Don't get me wrong, but I'm not blinking an eye. I'm taking UConn on the points.
Yeah, me too. I think we have the best team in the tournament field here in UConn, maybe second best. I would entertain an argument for Houston being the best team.
Yeah.
Against Stetson, who I do believe is the worst team. Personally, I think Stetson's the worst team that made it into the tournament field. So I shout out to Stetson for getting their first ever tournament berth in. They haven't been eligible for that long because they took the jump all the way from D3 to D1.
Yeah.
So I believe that instead of a 4 year is a 6 year tournament ban window. So shout out to Stetson. Haven't been eligible that long. Made the tournament. Good for them. You got a berth. You're going to get absolutely shit on by UConn.
Congratulations. Welcome to the dance. And this is your date. Man, that's like, your buddy's like, hey, bud, you gotta, like when we were in high school and stuff, if you didn't have a date and your buddy was like, oh, don't worry, just show up. I got a date for you. And it's their like second cousin.
Oh, yeah. Man. Well, moral of the story, don't be a mid-major who lost 12 games.
Yeah. That would help. That would help your seeding a little bit.
Yeah, you do that, you're going to draw the number 1 overall seed, and you're probably going to get shit on. Unless you're UMBC and you have a 5'4" point guard who just goes bonkers. Yeah,
exactly. New Mexico, Clemson. New Mexico, 2-point favorites here. 152 is the total, Noah. You got sharp money on Clemson here. 35% of the bet, 63% of the money. I'm liking New Mexico, though.
Yeah,
I am really liking New Mexico here.
This is interesting. We've had a lot of games where the sharps do not agree with the public.
No.
A lot of those have also happened to be the sharps betting on these power conference schools against mid majors, and that's disrespectful. I take that personally. we love the mid majors. Like we said, Mountain West severely underseeded. New Mexico getting the 11 seed here. It goes to show that the committee would have kept them out if they didn't get the AQ in in the Mountain West, which is absolutely despicable. Richard Pitino has done a great job with this team after he took it over 2 or 3 years ago, and he did a terrible job at Minnesota, but then, great job at New Mexico, and Jamal Mashburn Jr. is ready to make a name for himself if he hasn't already.
I'm with you.
I'm taking the 2 points on New Mexico. I think they're going to absolutely blow Clemson out here, and I have zero faith in the ACC. Like I said.
No, I'm with you there. No, you took the words right out of my mouth, and it's to the point where I don't even know if it's the sharps betting on these teams or if it's just people with a lot of money seeing that these teams are underdogs or damn near close to it and slamming them. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, well, there's a lot of stupid people with a lot of money, so
that's very true. I told you the story about the guy who won $500,000 on the Patriots and then gave it right back in the second half, right? Yeah, that was a fun story.
I don't know if I recall that one, but
that was my time at the sports book. I'll probably tell it a couple times tomorrow. Got to save my stories for the live stream. That's a long time. We're live.
Absolutely, yeah.
All right, let's keep it moving. Noah, Yale, Auburn. What the actual fuck? I'm sorry, Noah. I'm sorry. Yale is a 12.5-point dog going into this. And I am not shitting you. 46% of the bets. Okay. So that's respectable, I guess. Double-digit spread. 86% of the money on Yale to cover against Auburn. And
that makes 0 sense to me.
The line opened up at 11.5, moving now to 12.5, 13.5 at some books. So not only are you getting a ridiculous amount of money on Auburn, you're getting a three
on Yale. You said,
huh?
I thought you said on Yale.
Yeah, is that what? Not what I said. I mean, yes, on Yale, you're getting but the line. I'm sorry, excuse me. Line moving from 11.
Reverse line movement here.
Yes, reverse line movement. Heavy reverse line movement too. You're seeing a point and a half on this, and still money seems to be pouring in on Yale, Noah. And I mean, I loved Auburn before I saw this, and I think I love them even more now.
Yeah, Auburn is a top 10, if not top 8 team in this entire tournament, in my opinion. I think Auburn is really, really fucking good. Yeah. And I don't know why they were getting shit. I don't know why they were being thrown out there in the names of, teams you can't trust. Like, this could be a first round upset. Everybody loves a 12-5 or, yeah, this is a 13-4, I guess. But yeah, everybody loves picking those 12-5, 13-4 upsets. I do too. They happen enough that when you got a 30% hit rate, this is not one of those.
No.
Auburn shouldn't have even been a 4 seed. They should have been on the 3. They should have been on the 3 line, in my opinion. And Yale, they got lucky that Princeton got taken out before they had to play them. They beat Brown by 1 point on a buzzer beater. Like we could have been dealing with Brown here, who would have gotten like a 14 or a 15 seed. I'm on Auburn big time on this one. I think Auburn's a top 8 or 10 team in the entire country. I think it's disrespectful that they got a 4 seed, and I think they're going to absolutely blow the brakes off of Yale in this one.
I bet you one of those bracketologists over at one of those big networks was like, well, if you look at this Yale team, you can see that this metric they actually perform better in, and yada, yada. Shout out to those talking heads. I'm so glad I don't have to listen to them tomorrow because I'll be talking the entire day. So yeah, that's Yale and Auburn there. Taking a jump because we do not have the matchup yet for Florida. As that game goes into half, Colorado up to 26-24. So we're going to move over to Texas A&M and Nebraska. Nebraska 1 point favorite here. 147 is the total. Woo! And the people have spoken, Noah, as we are looking at 75% of the bets, 95% of the money on A&M here, seeing slight line movement. You're seeing it go from +1 to plus 1.5 to the 1. But some books holding strong there at that 1.5. How do you feel about this?
This is maybe the 8-9 matchup that I'm the most confident about.
Really?
Yep. And I think it's all Nebraska.
Yeah.
Nebraska, who, by the way, has never won a game in the March Madness tournament.
Really?
Never once. Not once. Not one single game. And this game right here, this is the Super Bowl for Nebraska basketball.
Oh, yeah.
They don't even care about the second round game because their school's never won a March Madness game. They're going to go in. They're going to be more motivated. They're going to care more. I liked what Nebraska's done this season. I shit on them a lot early in the season, and I was like, how are they good? This makes no sense. They lost a couple of these bad games, and I was very anti-Nebraska, and then I changed my tune as the season went on, and I like Nebraska to win this one outright. Obviously they're favored by a point, so nothing crazy there, but I'm pretty confident they win this game.
I'm with you. I'm with you. I would love to see nothing more than A&M with a nice first round exit here. And I think Nebraska's just on the hot hand right now. Like you said, Noah, this is the Super Bowl. Got nothing to lose. And I'm just going to take the money line as long as it's sitting there at 110. I'm not going to mess around with the point.
Yeah, Hoiberg's going to earn himself a contract extension by just winning one single first round game in March Madness. It's beautiful, and Nebraska's just going to be mid for the rest of eternity.
I'm sorry, this has nothing to do with the tournament because this team doesn't know what the NCAA tournament looks like. But did you see the school in Tempe extended Hurley?
Yeah, that's pretty good gig that Bobby Hurley's got there.
Holy crap!
You can routinely, miss the March Madness tournament, maybe make it once every 4 or 5 years, and then you just get extended for basically for life. I mean, only a 2-year extension right now, but they just keep extending him. Like, they have no problem with it, which just tells me they have no faith in hiring anybody better than Hurley. So
it's like ASU just doesn't want to win basketball games. It's like they are okay with being the most mediocre team in the state. And I can say the most mediocre team in the state because they would get their ass handed to them by NAU, and they would get their ass handed to them by GCU.
Yeah, I don't know about NAU, but GCU for sure. Yeah. NAU not that great this year, so.
Fair enough. Not this year, but maybe one of their stronger years. Anyway, getting back to the tournament, because again, ASU wouldn't know what a March Madness bracket looks like. Can I fit one more dig in there? Is there anything else I can dig them on? Oh, they have nothing to innovate the bracket on. There we go. That was weak.
I was going to say
weak. That was weak as fuck.
I was going to say no need to beat a dead horse, but
something about innovation. something innovation. Anyway, Vermont, Duke, 12-point favorites here. If I said there was 67% of the bets, 95% of the money, which team would you think that's on, Noah?
Probably on Duke.
Vermont.
Okay.
Plus 9.5, Noah. This is where the line opened. We're up to 12. We've got some 3-point reverse line movement. 2.5, excuse me. Reverse line movement here with the public grossly on Vermont. I mean, I like Duke to move on in my bracket. I don't know why I wouldn't like Duke minus 12 here against, I don't know, not great team.
See, I'm the opposite. Like,
Vermont's a good team, but
like I've got Duke moving on in my bracket, but I like Vermont to cover 12. I think that's a lot of points. Vermont's a team that's been here before. They know what it's like. They've had tournament experience. They're going to be just fine. They're going to come in. Duke's got some glaring issues that they've had all season, and I think those will show, and Vermont's going to keep this game close. Again, same thing we talked about earlier. Like, Vermont's going to have 3/4 of that arena probably cheering for him.
Oh, yeah.
And I like Vermont to cover the spread.
Give me Duke minus the 12. Come on. It's March. First round of March. Give me Duke minus the 12. My book doesn't have it yet, but some books are posting Grambling State Purdue at 26.5. Noah, how you feeling about that? Yeah.
And sprinkle the money line.
Yep. Sprinkle that money line. That's gonna be, but like that's the thing, is like they can put the 26.5, 25.5 point line, but those scumbags at the sports book may only hang it at like a 400.
They won't.
I know. This should be plus 800. Let me get a juicy payout on this, but
it'll be more than that.
Anyway.
2,400. That's what I'm guessing.
Yeah, I like that. If it's 2,400, yeah, I'm taking that. Charleston. Bama, 9-point favorites here going into this one. 173.5 is the total. 75% of the bets, 55% of the money on Charleston. This one, you're getting normal line movement. Noah opened up at 10.5, now moving down to a 9.5, full point movement there. I'm still feeling good about Charleston.
Yeah, hey, it's the slow against the go, and the slow usually benefits from that. And so Charleston plus 9. Yep. I love that, and I'm going to sprinkle the money line on that as well.
Sprinkle it on like it's a cupcake. Let's go. All right, Noah, my second favorite team name of the tournament, Longwood, going up against the Tide. Nope. Longwood going up against Houston. 24-point favorites here. 128 is the total. Noah, they may be one of my favorite team names this season, but They're about to get clapped, aren't they?
Yeah, I mean, hey, best 16 seed in the tournament. Congratulations, you got that designation. Sorry, you're playing Houston.
That sucks. That sucks.
Give me under 28. Give me Houston minus 24, which is a little bit of a weird bet there, but I think Houston holds them to like 40 points, and I don't see Houston scoring 88 or 89.
I don't either.
So I think Houston's going to hold Longwood to like a low fucking number.
Yeah.
Houston is the best defensive team by a huge margin. The best defensive team we've probably seen in like 5+ years in college basketball. And Houston's always up at the top defensively, but they just, between their offensive rebounding capability and the way they play defense, this is just a nightmare for any team that doesn't have, like, the way to beat Houston is you got to have one or two guys just go lights out shooting.
Yeah.
And
No,
I don't see Longwood doing that. I think it's going to be a blowout.
I agree. But the Sharps don't. 31% of the bet, 73% of the money on Longwood plus the 24. That's weird.
Right.
That's weird. I'm on Houston, though, with you. Let's ride. Okay. This may be cause for concern. JMU, the Dukes, going up against Wisconsin. Wisconsin, 5-point favorites going into this game. 17% of the bets, 9% of the money on Wisconsin in this one. I would say this is the most popular upset pick we've seen here tonight, Noah.
And rightfully so.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it's James Madison all the way in this one. I mean, this is a 29-win team playing a Wisconsin team that I have zero faith in.
Yeah.
And I am all over James Madison on the spread, on the money line, whatever it is. Just give me James Madison.
Yeah, plus the 5 money line, first half, second half, third half, all that fun stuff. TCU going up against Utah State. Utah State 4.5-point dogs in this one. Noah, 151 is the total.
This line is moved to 4.5 now.
Opened up at 2.5, moving up to 4.5 now. 74% of the bets, 44% of the money on TCU.
Well, gotta say I'm on Utah State, the regular season winner of the Mountain West, a team that is still in the AP rankings at I think 22 right now. Oh man, I have to ride Utah State in this one.
Yep.
I mean, I have them in one or two of my brackets going as far as the Elite Eight.
I like it.
Actually, I think in one of them I have them in the Final Four. And I know that's a risky pick because this TCU game is going to be really tight. But if they get past TCU, I think they got a really good shot at beating either Purdue or whoever upsets Purdue in the first round. And then, from there, it's almost smooth sailing to the Elite Eight. And then you win one more game and you're in the Final Four. I am really, really high on this Utah State team, and I'm riding the money line. I'm going to eat that 4.5 up for breakfast, and we'll see how it goes.
We will. I like that 4.5 a lot. Like the money line.
Makes me a little nervous because TCU is definitely a capable team, but I got to ride with my faith on Utah State in this one.
I get it. All right, Noah. Last game of round 1, and yes, they make us wait all day for this one. GCU St. Mary's. St. Mary's 5.5-point favorites here. 131.5 is the total. How we feeling?
This was one of the games that I really, really struggled with my bracket, but I'm not struggling with betting wise because you're giving me 5.5 and I'm taking GCU to cover that 5.5. I think this game, much like the Gonzaga McNeese game, is a toss up that's sitting at about a 6-point spread. You look, it's 2 games, give or take half a point, but give me GCU to cover that 5.5. I think GCU might have the makings of a team that could make a really deep run, another 29-win team this season. And you can't write off any team that's winning 28, 29, 30 games in a season. Much like FAU was 30-3 last year. And I said, wow, okay. And I picked FAU to go pretty far. I only had them in the Elite Eight. Shame on me. But watch out for GCU. I mean, if they get past St. Mary's, I don't think they're going to have a problem getting past Alabama or Charleston in the second round. North Carolina may or may not even be there in the Sweet 16 matchup. And so, this is a team that could make an Elite Eight run. And watch out for GCU. However, St. Mary's is playing really good basketball, and they could also make an Elite Eight or even maybe a Final Four run. So this is a tough one because I could see both of these teams making a really deep run, but I'm going to take GCU on the points and hope that they win the game.
I love it. GCU with the points for the final pick of round 1 of March Madness, Noah. Hell yeah. Hell yeah. Hell yeah. We are we are about, 22 hours away?
14, my guy. 13 and a half.
12 and a half. Nope. 14 and a half. Yep, that's math. We're a math show.
Should have just trusted me when I said that.
Sorry, no. Then I realized my math was very off, and then I was concerned for a little bit, and then I had to redo the math in my head to make sure that my brain still somewhat operates. So that's where we're at there. Yeah, that's all that. No, you have anything else to say before March Madness gets started? This is the last time we're going to talk before tip off or anything.
Oh man, I'm just I'm excited to see what happens. You did mention the Florida game against the winner of this Colorado Boise State game. I do have Boise State in this one. I think they were 3.5, 4.5 point dogs, something like that, maybe 2.5. They were a couple point dog. I do like Boise State even down 2 at halftime. Probably gonna throw a little live bet on them, but I think Florida takes care of whoever wins this one. We didn't get to talk about Florida because we don't have a betting line set on that. But I am very high on Florida, even though one of their starters fractured leg, one of those leg bones fractured in the SEC championship. I still like Florida to advance out of the first round. I'm a little less high on them getting past Marquette, moving farther, which I was originally. That was when I had to go and change some brackets because I was like, shit. That's an impactful injury, much like the Kansas injuries, something to pay attention to. But I like Florida to beat the winner of this one.
I agree. What do you think the line's going to be? Best guess. For some reason, I'm sitting at 4.5, 5.5. Florida favored.
I think if Colorado wins this, I think we're dealing with like a 1.5, 2.5. If Boise State wins, I think we're looking at like 4.5, 5.5. So
fair enough. I respect it. I like it.
Which I will take Florida minus anywhere up to like 3 or 4 points against Colorado. If it ends up like 5.5 against Boise State, that one's a little tougher, but I still think I'm riding Florida to cover that. I think they're going to have some good momentum, and I think they're going to give Marquette all they can handle in the second round.
I agree. I'm excited. I'm just excited now. I'm so excited to lock in tomorrow morning, 15 minutes before it all starts, get the stream going, and just sit back, relax, and enjoy March. I'm so excited.
I fucking love this tournament. They give you four amazing days, and then you get to cool off for 3 days and recollect your thoughts, and then you get 4 more amazing days, and then you get to cool off for a second again. And then the games are more spaced out, and you get to really think about them. But it's just fucking. This tournament's so cool. I hope they don't alter it. They don't change it. I love it the way it is, and it's just amazing.
I'm with you. Well, with all that being said, thank you all for listening. Thank you all for watching. Again, we will be live all weekend for March Madness from the tip to the last basket. So make sure you join us at some point this weekend. Come and talk some college basketball. And it's going to be a good time. But with all that being said, thank you all for listening and watching. Please hit that like button if you like what we're cooking, excuse me. And I, of course, am the Brofect1 AJ. That's the Money Train Noah. And we'll see you tomorrow on Degenerate Takes. And we're